how long I've known you.
Oh, baby.
Growing up in the same street.
Same street.
Yeah.
Same street. Look at God. Welcome to Minute Maid. Testing, testing, that's it. Welcome to Minute Maid Park, home of the World Series winning Houston Astros. If everyone would please find your seat, we have an excellent, wonderful program for you tonight. What a special time. My name is Paula McCann Harris, and I am the Senior Vice President of Community for the Houston Astros, along with being the Executive Director of the Astros Foundation. And I am very proud to stand before you on this February day, welcoming our Houston chapter of the NAACP to the Diamond Club here at Minute Maid Stadium. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so, we have so many special guests and so many people that you are going to get to hear from and see tonight. I do not want to belabor, but I do have to tell you that starting tomorrow at 5 p.m., we will have 6 HBCU baseball teams playing in this park. You may have heard of Jackson State or Mississippi Valley. You may know a little bit about Southern or Grambling. And then, of course, there's always Prairie View A&M University and Texas Southern University. And we are so excited to open our doors to them. So to kick off that and to be able to host the NAACP the evening before we start off the first ever 6 teams from HBCUs playing on a major league field, I am so excited, so excited. I'm excited for the boys, I'm excited for the coaches, all of the D9 will be here all weekend strutting around. We have Jack and Jill parties and other AKs and the Q, everybody's gonna be here having a good time in Minute Maid, and we are opening our doors. As I welcome you, I hope that you enjoyed your meal. I attend Wheeler Avenue, which means I was fasting in January, and they came to my office and they say, Paula, what do you want on the menu for the NAACP? I said, I want some steak, I want some fish, I want some peach cobbler, and I wanted all that back in January as I was giving up meat and sugar. So this menu came from a hungry person. And so we wanted to greet you. We wanted to make sure that you know our home is your home. I hope that you took a picture with the World Series Championship trophy out there. And we wanted to bring you our very best. And our very best is none other than to have a conversation with your president and our Dusty Baker. And so to start the program, somebody took my notes. I saw you when you did it too. To start the program, there are 2 people. Well, before I start that, I do always have to acknowledge the most phenomenal mayor in the whole world, our mayor, Sylvester Turner. I saw him come in, and I see sitting next to Sylvester Turner, Mayor Sylvester Turner is the best county commissioner anyone could. If you want to ride a bike, call Rodney. That is the best county commissioner. And my friend also, Rodney Ellis, I our Councilwoman Carolyn Shabazz in the back, if she would wave, and any other elected officials. Judge Joe Stevens is up here. Judson Robinson. I mean, this is the VIP group. Is that Councilmember Dave Martin? Thank you for joining us, Councilmember Dave Martin. The NAACP is always known for bringing out the best and brightest, the activists, the ones that always we can depend on to fight for others. And so we really, really are appreciative and thankful that you came out to join us. With that said, I am about to bring two very, very special people up here. One, what do I call him? Some days he's my pawpaw. Some days he's my boss. Other days I think he works for me. Mr. Enos Cabell is joining me on stage. And Mr. Cabell, if you don't know, now you know, a former baseball player, professional, that played in the Major League Baseball as a baseman and as a first baseman and a third baseman from 1972 to 1986. Most prominently as a member of the Houston Astros team that won the franchise's first ever National League Western Division, and a postseason berth in 1980. He played for the Orioles, the San Francisco Giants, the Detroit Tigers, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And after his career, he is serving as a special advisor to our owner, Jim Crane, who I didn't see him in here, and I was supposed to introduce him if I saw him, but he was here earlier. So thank you for joining us, Mr. Enos Cabell. Please feel free to have a seat. And I was supposed to tell you about the foundation. I'm gonna do that real quick before I bring up our star of the show and your president, about the Astros Foundation and how we've donated $50 million into the Houston community since 2012, how $5.3 million was donated to community programs in 2022 last year, how 20,000 youth were supported through the Astros Youth Academy, founded by our own mayor, and our community leader programs and our partnerships with Girls and Boys Clubs and our partnerships with the YMCA and with other organizations, the City of Houston summer programming. How we have distributed 69,000 charity tickets to games last season, to youth, to athletes, to nonprofits, to veterans, to teachers, to first responders. If you need tickets, if you want tickets, have kids that have never had the experience in this park, you call us. We provide experiences for our children in this city. We also donate in-kind items to organizations. I know we have a big donation today that Dusty helped us with, but signed auction items for your organizations. We are the professional team in town. We have helped organizations in 2022 raise over $1 million for their nonprofit groups, youth teams, and schools through our donations. So please feel free to call us. You were greeted by our wonderful volunteers, of which we have over 2,000 volunteers out in this community every day. If they're not here, they're over at Sunshine Kids, or they're over at Medical Bridges, or they're over at the Food Bank or Kids Meals with their Astro shirts on, organized by the Houston Astros Foundation. So we impact this community every day, during season and not when we're not in season. And with that said, I'm going to talk about someone else who selflessly has given of himself through his entire life, and that's NAACP President Reverend Bishop James Dixon, of the pastor of Community Faith, no stranger to social activism in Houston. Before we got here today, we were upstairs speaking to 89 students that Bishop Dixon brought into the park. They're on tours, they had their own meal, they got a Q&A with Dusty, all because of the generosity and the thoughtfulness of Bishop Dixon. One team that I did see up there was Waltrip High School, and I see that you graduated from Waltrip High School, attended HBU and TSU, and graduated from the Okie College of Biblical Studies, and a Master's of Ministry from the Richmond Seminary, and a Doctorate of Ministry from Virginia University in Lynchburg and Seminary. He has been a community advocate for many years and has numerous advocacy affiliations and appointments, including the Anti-Defamation League, the Coalition of Mutual Respect, the Harris County Racial and Ethnic Disparities Committee, and he's co-founder of the NTZ Anti-Trafficking Organization. And what we are proud of tonight is that he is president of the Houston NAACP, and he's also our overseer as the Harris County Sports and Convention Corporation board chair that handles all parks in Houston. Please welcome to the stage someone we all admire, Bishop James Dixon.
Wow. I am so honored and humbled to be here. Before she leaves, let's celebrate Paula Harris, the chair of the Astros Foundation. Come on, let's give it. Wait, time out. We're in the ballpark. Time out. Never treat the uncommon like it's common. Let's celebrate Miss Paula Harris. An outstanding leader, an outstanding visionary, a consensus builder, cares about people. 69,000 kids saw baseball games last year because of her, and more to come. We honor you, we celebrate you, and thank you so much for your generosity. I'm so glad you were hungry enough to get the steak and the stuff and the peach cobbler. We appreciate you so very much. Tonight, we are certainly in for a major experience. You are here tonight not to see me, although I look pretty good. But you are here tonight because we have the benefit and blessing of having greatness in our city. I know that Enos Cabell has already been introduced, but I want to take a personal privilege to say to Enos Cabell in your presence so much of what I say about you behind your back. Enos Cabell not only performed greatly on a baseball field, which he did for many years, entertained us, inspired us, but even since he's left the baseball diamond, Enos Cabell has been a champion and a winner, a businessman, a leader, a philanthropist, a difference maker, a change agent, and we want to honor him tonight. Let's celebrate Mr. Enos Cabell. Come on. Thank you so very, very much. We appreciate and applaud you. And let me take a moment to thank all of the team members of the Houston NAACP. Our executive director is here, Yolanda Smith. Would you stand? No, stand. Give her a hand. We appreciate Yolanda. All of our executive committee members, would you stand? Would you stand? All of the executive committee members of the give them a hand. We appreciate them. And then all of the members of the NAACP, would you stand? That should be everybody in the house. Come on, give it up for the members of the Houston NAACP. We appreciate all of you for your support. Could not do this without you, to say the least. And certainly Trey Daniels and his team, Claude Cummins, they're still in the back making sure everything goes well. We appreciate them. Mayor Sylvester Turner, thank you so very much. We honor you, and thank you for spending time with us tonight. And please, I'm glad you're here to keep Commissioner so he stays a little longer than normal. Commissioner Rodney Ellis is the reason I'm on the Harris County Sports and Convention Corporation Board. I appreciate you, along with our judge, County Judge Lena Dago. We thank God for all of our elected officials. We're going to get right to what we came here for tonight. And I want to certainly, and I'm proud to present to us tonight, this man we called Dusty Baker. Was named the Astros 19th field manager in franchise history on January 29, 2020. And now his most memorable year in his 25th year as a Major League manager, the 2022 season, where perhaps Baker's most memorable moment is that he guided the Houston Astros to a World Series championship. I'm not going to read all of his bio because it's like a book. We're going to talk about that in the question and the answer period tonight. I want to celebrate this man. He's been in Major League Baseball since 1968. And here he is in 2023, fit, strong, full of vim, vigor, and vitality. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let's celebrate the living legend, the NAACP Legend Awardee for 2023, our coach, the manager, Dusty Baker.
Thank you. You know, Bishop, before I get started, there's a couple people I need to introduce in the crowd. And one of them, I grew up with him in Riverside, California. And now his son, I understand, is a judge in Harris County. Where's Joe? Stand up, Joe. He was the basketball playingest cat in the neighborhood. And his son, stand up, Judge. There you go. And much love to you. And the second person who taught me, I was a kid from California like Enos. And first time I had been in the South, and I had a lot to learn. And and the person that taught me was my roommate Ralph Garr, who went to Grambling College. He was 21 and I was 18, and I told him that made us about the same age because I was from California. He didn't buy that. And his wife, I met my first wife, you know, through at Grambling College. I'd never seen that many pretty black girls in all my life. And his wife, Pee-wee, stand up, Pee-wee. Her name is Ruby, but I know it's Pee-wee and Gator. That's the ball playingest cats you'll ever see right there. Thank you, Gator.
Well, we're excited and thank all of you for being here tonight. And we got some pro athletes here tonight as well, and we're honoring them as well. We appreciate all of you who are in the house. I need to give you this. The only reason I didn't make it to the pros, the mayor will tell you, is because God called me to preach. I just want you to know that.
Well, that's fine.
I just want you to know that you're sitting with a fellow athlete. I
wanted to be a preacher, but I didn't make it. That's a fact.
Coach, we're happy to be with you tonight, and we feel honored and privileged. And we wanted to have a conversation with you tonight. Of course, the Houston NAACP giving you our Legends Honors Award as we celebrate our Freedom Forward Week this week. But we wanted you to have a chance to talk about the story behind the glory, right? Because all of us know the glory. We read the highlights. We've read all of the front pages. And the truth of the matter is, greatness is not by accident. And sometimes we read the headlines and we see the stars, but not the scars. Would you talk to us tonight? We just want to talk about your story, and in a very leisurely, casual way. You've been in the league since 1968, but your life started before then. Tell us a little bit about your foundation that you stand on today.
Well, my foundation came, from my mother and father. And I was fortunate enough to have a two-parent home. My brothers and sisters weren't as fortunate, especially my younger brother and sister. And, that was kind of a turning point in my life because I came home one day and my mom and dad had separated, and she said, Dad's not coming home, and I couldn't believe it. And all of a sudden, I was man of the house at 17 years old. And, that was a, big turning point. My dad was my coach as a kid. He was Bobby Bonds' coach in Riverside. My dad was everybody's coach. And they called my dad Big John, or they call him Mr. Baker. And, you know, they never called me, I'm Johnny B. Baker Jr. They never called me Junior. My dad worked 2 jobs for 30-something years. He worked at the Air Force Base. I never saw him sick. I never saw him have the flu. And then he cut lawns for the rich guys that I grew up with and went to school with. And I wanted to shine shoes, but he told me, no, son, his was going to shine shoes. I wanted to caddy at the country club. He wouldn't let me caddy, you know. And then my mom went back to school after many years and got her degree in African American Studies. Then it was called Black American History at the time. And so, you know, my mama was about education. My dad was about discipline. And my mom was about love, but my dad, whatever mom said, that dad was heavy. And I wasn't scared. I wasn't afraid of no man alive. I wasn't scared of cops. I wasn't scared of nobody, but I was scared of my daddy. And my daddy told me one day, he said, look, I know you ain't scared of nobody, but you might as well be scared of somebody in life, and it might as well be me. And it was him. And, you know, that's how I started. Like I said, my dad, you know, he cut me when I was 8, 9, and 10 from his little league team because he said,
wait, slow down. Your daddy
yeah,
was your little league coach.
yes,
He cut you from the little league team
yep,
when you were 8, 9, and 10.
yes.
Talk about that, coach. Come on.
Well, and then when he cut me, I was 10, then he nicknamed me Hardhead because he says, you don't learn too quick. You know, he said I had a bad attitude, and I'm big now on attitude. And, you know, he said I had a bad attitude, and if I could take that bad attitude and put it in the proper direction, that I could be something one day. And, you know, that's what got me kind of on the right trail. And like I said, my mom, she was about education. She made me take algebra, geometry, algebra 2. Before I got out of high school, 3 years of Spanish. I said, Mama, I just want to play ball. And, you know, you know, she made me put the lesson, you know, my homework on the TV. And if she couldn't read it, I had to do it over again. And people tell me today that I write like pretty.
Yeah. It was from Mama.
From Mama.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I try to like copy her handwritings that Dusty can be excused today from school.
Yeah.
But I could never get it. And if I did get it, I was afraid to turn it in because if I got caught, my dad's gonna kill me.
He'll kill you. Wow. So you talk about some serious stuff because they don't make many mamas and daddies like that no more.
Yeah.
And maybe if we can make some more daddies and mamas like that, we can make some more Dusty Bakers because your daddy was, yeah, tough love enough to cut you because of your attitude, because he knew your attitude was going to determine altitude, and your mother's stickler for education. Do you use stuff today that your parents put in you and you know this came directly from them?
Yes, every day. And my sister, who was a missionary, and you know, we were raised in the church. And my sister, that was a missionary in South America for 12 years. She told me about, I don't know, 10 years ago that I sound like my dad. And I thought she had like cursed me out. And, you know, and there was one time, like I said, me and my dad were close. And there was one time when I didn't speak to my dad because I sneaked away and signed without my dad's permission. Now I was supposed to go to Santa Clara play basketball, and I didn't want to go to another, you know, predominantly white school, and you had to study, you know. And I wanted to go to Arizona State and San Jose State, and my dad said no because those are the 1-2 party schools in the country. And see, he was a deacon, and I was a junior deacon, but I saw this article in Playboy. That's where I saw it. Yeah. And that's how I knew they was the 1-2 party schools in the country.
Yeah.
So when my daddy told me that, I said, dang, I didn't have the guts to ask him.
Yeah.
You know, did he see that article too? You understand? So I sneaked away and signed with the Braves, and I prayed to the Lord. I said, Lord, whatever you do, don't let me get drafted by the Atlanta Braves because I don't want to go to the South. And this was 1968 when they were having riots and they had Lester Maddox, and they was throwing brothers in the swamps, and it was tough. And so next morning, phone rings. You're a proud member of the Atlanta Braves. And I said, Lord, you didn't hear me. And so I went to L.A. Hank Aaron promised my mom that if I did sign, that he would take care of me as if I was his son.
Wow.
And he took care of me. And he made me go to church. Me and Ralph made us go to church every day. He made us eat. He made us come in.
Hank Aaron was making you go to church.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And then Hank Aaron and his wife, Billy, were big in the Atlanta chapter of the NAACP.
Yeah.
And through Hank Aaron at that time, he was going for the record. Okay. And so Hank, Ralph and I, we got to meet Ted Abernathy, got to meet Andrew Young, Maynard Jackson, Jesse Jackson at a very young age. And here I was praying that I didn't go to the South, and that was the best thing that happened to me.
Yeah. And
that's why I introduced, Ralph Garr, because, I was a little humbuggish. For y'all don't know what that means.
What that means. Interpret that, Doc.
Well, that means that I like
California boy.
Yeah, then I'd fight in a minute. And so a couple times me and Ralph got stopped by the cops in Vicksburg, Mississippi, going across the Vicksburg Bridge.
My God.
And he said, "Where you going, boy?" I said, "I ain't gonna be no boy." And then Ralph hit me in the side from the pow. Yeah. I said, I must have said something wrong. So, like I said, he taught me how to and I was getting back to my story. Me and my dad didn't speak for 3 years because I'm 18 now and do what I want. I mean, that famous speech that their kids give me.
Sure.
And so, we didn't speak. And so my dad tried to nullify my contract, and he couldn't. And so the state of California was a trustee over my affairs till I was 21. And I had to go to school in the winter because Vietnam was hot. And if you didn't have 18 units per semester, you were drafted.
That's why my parents made me take 18 units.
That's right.
I was wondering why I was taking 18 units.
I'm telling you. And so when I turned 21, California was a trustee over my affairs. They enacted the Jackie Coogan child prodigy law for the kids whose parents would take their money when they were child actors.
Right.
And my money tripled. And they put it in Standard Oil of California and IBM stock. So here I was watching the stock market at 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. And so I ended up being a stockbroker, all because of different things that happened in my life. And so me managing in my life, different things, ups and downs, and it hadn't always been easy. Yeah. My dad used to tell me, life ain't easy.
Yeah.
And so, all these things have contributed. And then I left out, and Ralph used to, I had to go join the Marines because I was in the Marines also from 69 to 75. Oh. And I'd leave on weekends. I'd tell Ralph goodbye. I'd leave for 2 weeks summer camp and go be a Marine. Well, they taught me, discipline, taught me teamwork. I didn't necessarily like it, but something when you got to protect a guy's life that you don't like and he don't like you and he's from another part of the country, that's teamwork. Wow. That's the epitome of teamwork. So, and plus they taught me how to survive in the woods. They taught me how to shoot.
Yeah.
I can shoot real good.
So, Coach, you entered the league in '68. How did you and when did you and Enos Cabell meet? Enos, because y'all been knowing each other for 50 years.
We couldn't meet anywhere else that we were going. If we went to another town back in that day, especially in the South, you had to take care of the other black teammates and Hispanic teammates. If you didn't eat, because we couldn't go places to eat. I mean, when I first came to Houston, we couldn't go to Westheimer in '75.
And when we went to Atlanta, we couldn't go to Buckhead.
Yeah,
You go to Buckhead in daytime.
yeah, not at night because you might not come back.
Right.
But we used to have a little group. It was Ralph Garr, a bunch of the, probably about 15 of us. And the older guys, Willie Horton, Hank Aaron, those guys would take us to eat because we didn't make any money. So Willie Stargell, they would take us to eat, and we would follow them like little puppies, but we didn't have to pay. So we put together a group. We had a group. We would go places together, but we would always be together because you couldn't be left out by yourself. If you left out by yourself, you might not show up.
You're in danger.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm in his town and he's in my town.
Yeah.
And then, after the games, I mean, we have some knockdown, drag them out fights.
During the game.
During the game.
During the game.
Oh, yeah. But after
the game.
Yeah, but after the game, we were going out to get something to eat or, going to the club.
We wouldn't go out one or two. It would always be 5, 6, or 7.
Did we go to the club every once in a while?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
OST. That's the only place Negroes could go back then was OST.
That's right.
Yeah, how do I know?
You want to know that?
I was an athlete, but no, but I mean, so younger players know nothing about that.
No.
Right? They don't know that history. They don't understand what that kind of camaraderie was really all about. That you had to be brothers.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
but they had some white dudes that was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I mean, like Pete Rose was always with us.
Okay.
Am I right?
That's a fact.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, and the Latin dudes are always with us.
Yeah.
We stayed on the same side of town.
Yeah. Back then, Hispanic guys, players, knew that they were black because they were treated like us.
Wow. I got it. So as you matriculated through the league, you've done that. What type of obstacles did you face just as a professional baseball player? And both of y'all can answer this. I mean, again, we're looking at you perform, but you're having to deal with this as a business. What was it like as a young black athlete in the 60s and 70s trying to navigate your way through the business aspect of the game?
Well, we had older guys that would take care of us, that would show us. I had Hank Aaron. Bobby Bonds had Willie Mays. Enos had Bob Watson and Frank Robinson. And see, they would pull you off to the side and say, "Come here, boy." If they called you boy, I'm like, my name ain't no boy. And then like I said, "Come here, boy." And so then you better go. Yeah. See, back then, like, kids now have rights.
They think they do.
Yeah. No, they have rights, and they know it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they know the law better than you.
They got the number, too.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. Yeah. Because, see, back in our day, man, I remember one day Hank Aaron grabbed me by the back of my neck.
Wow.
And I say, "Man, you better let me go." He said, "Then what? I'll think of something." That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And that's how it was.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't listen, then they didn't talk to you.
Wow.
And that's worse if they don't talk to you.
Yeah.
And so to navigate, we had guidelines that the older players would give us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's the difference today? I've heard some basketball players and other even retired athletes talk about the difference in the mental attitude and the toughness. I mean, you came up through some real challenging situations. What's it like coaching today, the young athlete, as opposed to what young athletes were like when you all were coming up?
Well, the major difference, I think, there isn't athletes are the same, kids are the same. I believe that whoever trained them and parents, those are the ones that are different because the kids are the same, you know? And the difference is that there's not as much competition for the jobs. See, now you can get a job. Back in our day, you wouldn't dare ask to get your release papers because then you may not get a job. And your mom and daddy tell you, you better not come home. And my daddy would ask me, it was always my fault. What'd you do?
Period.
Yeah, what'd you say? Oh, Dad, I didn't do nothing. Yeah, you did. You did something. You know, and that was one of the major differences where, like, today there's so many teams, and if you have a good year, you can make money. I mean, we had the back years. And what was tough on us is that if there was 3 black outfielders, all 3 of us should be playing at the same time, right, left, and center. Well, they throw us all in center field.
Okay.
And we got to cut each other's throats. And that was, you know, the major difference. Plus, man, you couldn't get hurt. We were told black players don't get hurt. Okay, wow. That's what we were told. And my mama used to tell me all the time, I got so tired of hearing that, you got to be twice as good to get the same thing. And she was not lying.
She was not lying. Yeah.
Okay, and that's how I managed, that's how I played, that's how we were forced to play. Hank Aaron used to like tell me and Ralph, man, I mean, you got to play, son. And you got to find a way to play. I'm a little hurt. Well, then you do this or you do this or don't do that. I mean, you gotta find a way to play. And then you better make your money because when you get through playing ball, there was no place for you, or the PR staff, or coaching staff, there was no place for you.
Not in the front office either.
Not in the front office. And it was, and that's how it was. Now, people ask me, oh, Dusty, how long do you want to coach? I did not want to coach. That's the last thing I want to do is coach. And see, I got divorced. Like my parents got divorced. And I got divorced, and I was at a turning point. And then Al Campanis said that blacks aren't qualified to have the thinking man's position, boom, boom, boom. And that's when we went to Dallas with Enos and Frank Robinson and Hank and you know, try to get the brothers some jobs. Bobby Tolan, Ralph, all of us were there. Kurt Flood, we had some bad dudes. Joe Morgan.
Yeah.
And so the guy came over to me and said, hey, Al Rosen would like to see you about a job. And I said, I don't want a job. I got a job. I'm a stockbroker. Market crashed that year. I did it. And I'll tell you, I was like, man, I don't like this. I don't like this job. And so I went to see Al Rosen. And I didn't want to coach. And so I asked my dad, I said, what do I do, Dad? He said, son, you go to the mountaintop and I want you to pray for direction the same way you prayed in the first time when I didn't know if I should sign or not. So I went up to Lake Arrowhead. I was living in L.A., me and my brother and our daughters, and I'm checking in the line to check in the hotel, and the owner of the Giants was there, who I played for 1 year, and he tapped me on the shoulder.
Wow.
And I turned around, and he said, Dusty, you need to come join us. So I went to the phone. I didn't see the guy the rest of the weekend. If I had got there 2 minutes later,
would have missed him.
I'd have missed him.
Yeah.
Called my dad. I say, Pops, what you think? Is that a sign? and he said, boy, you went up there to pray. Yeah, boy, that's a common theme.
Yeah.
He said, boy, you went up there to pray for direction. And
God sent the coach.
And the man standing right there.
And I don't want to see it.
Do you want to see? Yeah.
I didn't want to see it. That ain't the sign that I wanted to see.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So I said, okay, I'll give this 5 years of coaching. Moved back to Northern California. And it was 5 years and 1 day that I was named the manager of the Giants.
Wow.
You hear me?
So I don't want to dwell on this, but I keep hearing some recurring themes. Like you grew up in church. Your parents took you to church.
No, they made us go to church.
So you had a drug problem. They were dragging you to church.
Yeah, they sure were.
Yeah,
About a year.
about a year, whatever it took. I remember those days. But I hear this reoccurring theme, and even as a grown man, Hank Aaron is taking you to making you go to church with the Braves, and then your dad tells you when you making a decision.
And Ralph made us go to church.
Ralph, God made you go to church.
Yeah.
I just tell somebody go to church. Yeah, okay.
But the church, I don't know about these around here, but the church where I'm living is kind of dying.
Yeah.
You know, I feel sorry for these kids that don't have no church upbringing. Now, I got to tell you this. I may sound all righteous and everything, but see, I did my share wrong in this life too now.
We all have.
Have you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I tell people.
You tell a story and I'll tell a story.
Okay, cool. All right. You go first, me go first.
That's all right, that's all right.
Really, I tell people I'm the mistake God made on purpose. Like God chose me knowing I was messed up. Me too. Right? Because he wanted to prove that it was grace and not me. So I make no bones about that. I tell anybody I pass out of my scars more than my stars because, we're wounded healers at best, right?
He fix you. He fix you.
Yeah, there you go.
What about you, E?
I don't know, Dusty. You've been around me a long time. You know I'm kind of crazy.
So let's get off of that then before the stories start coming out. But you got a value system that has guided you. Let me just ask you, because you talked about Bob Watson a minute ago, and that always sends a bell off in my head because I was a little kid when my parents took us to the Astrodome for the first time for an Astros game, and we were my Astro buddy was Jim Wynn.
Oh,
Yeah, my sister's Astro buddy was Bob Watson. My brother's Astro buddy was Cesar Cedeno. And I remember my parents, because back then the Rainbow Bread, y'all remember Rainbow Bread? They had coupons on the bread for Astros discounts. And so I remember being able to go to games because they took the coupons off the loaf of bread. And to see Bob Watson and Jim Wynn and Cesar Cedeno we were way up there. We didn't have those good seats. But I dreamed, would I ever meet people like that? And we would go home and we would act like, I'm Jim Wynn, I'm Bob Watson, I'm Cesar Cedeno. What you all experienced together, moving baseball forward, often when baseball did not want to move you forward, but you had to be twice as good, better. Talk about, and I haven't met J.R. Richards and those kind of people, those kind of athletes. Talk about how good they really were to have gotten to where they got to be there, Enos.
Well, I'm an Army baby too, so I was brought up to say yes, sir, no, ma'am, and everything else and be polite. And I grew up in California, but my mother was from Louisiana. And so when I first signed, I had to beg my mama to sign the paper because my daddy wouldn't. Because he said, you need to go in the Army or you need to go get some college education. And so I begged my mom signed the paper. So that was a big thing with us. They didn't want us to go. And when we first went off, I go to the South. It wasn't even the South. It was Bluefield, West Virginia, if anybody ever heard of that place. Wasn't nothing there, nothing. And we stayed in a hotel, and the houses around that were owned by black people were like sticks. And I realized early on, I was pretty smart. I said, I'm not poor. I said, they're poor. I said, look at the houses and stuff that they're living in West Virginia. And then I went to the South, and I'm a brother from California like Dusty, and we fight. You say something, we're going to fight. I fought all my life, I think. I must have had about 8 or 9 fights. If all of you guys around here when I was playing, we fought. We had Donnie Brooks. I used to bite pitchers' head and bite them in the head. My mama said, don't forget no fight if you don't kill him. That's my mama. She's from Louisiana. But we had to do different things. That's why we protected ourselves. We built an inner circle of players where if we went somebody, they say, don't go there. Bob Watson helped raise me, but his mama, Carol, she kept all the women from me. Carol said, no, she's not the right one. She's not the right one. I'm in the game playing, and they look pretty good. And Carol would stop the women from looking at me.
They was probably looking good, too, huh?
Yeah, they were looking good for a young guy. But we had to protect each other. And still, even to this day, I'll go in the office and Dusty would be crying or moaning or bitching. And I said, what are you bitching about? You remember where we grew up? I said, you got a good life. Write the lineup out and let's go whip some tail. Yeah, he won't mess with me. He won't slap me, which JR would, but Dusty wouldn't slap me. But you need people around you that have good things for you. If you stay with bad people, you end up being bad. It's no way you can get out of that. So you got to have people around you that have, I always try to put the smarter people, I want to go with them because I'm already smart, but I need somebody smarter than me. Yeah. So they can tell me what to do and when I'm wrong.
Wow.
We grew up like that.
We're going to get some questions from the audience. I want to make sure we... Yes, thank you, Paula, for that. Is Jerome Solomon here? Is Nate Griffin here? Or Ralph Cooper? All right. Okay, because Ralph Cooper was going to try to be tonight. They've been following you a long time. Oh, yeah. And give it up for Ralph Cooper even in his absence. Yes, I mean, Ralph. But we're going to have a couple of questions. Anyone on the front, anyone on the, want to ask a question?
Let me tell you a story about Ralph Cooper. When we first came here, we didn't have we had a few black players on our team, but we got where the black guys in the back would never ask a question, reporters, or if they did have any at that time. Ralph was the first one, and I used to sit with JR and Jose Cruz, and Ralph would always be in the back, always be in the back. And finally, we just said, we're going to make this brother talk. So we said, one day JR had a hell of a game, and then I hit a couple of home runs or something, and then the black guy in the back, I said, hey, brother, you, ask the question. We're not answering any questions for anybody until Ralph Cooper asks the question. Wow. We stopped that. He'd always be in the back, and he'll tell you that to the day. He said, we made him ask questions. We made him ask the first question, but we weren't answering no question. But that's how long we've been knowing Ralph Cooper.
Can y'all do y'all see what that is? Come on. That's major. That's major. I got a Ralph Cooper story too. I'll tell y'all later because when he's in the presence, Ralph Cooper would tell you what kind of athlete I really was. I'm just
Did you have speed?
Did I have speed? 4.40, 4.5,
Did they have clocks back then?
You look like you can run.
Thomas, hey, stand up, nephew Tommy. Stand up, nephew Tommy. Stand up. Come to this microphone. Come. This is nephew Tommy from the Steve Harvey Show, y'all. He might prank somebody tonight. Will you tell these men I play football?
He was amazing. He went to Eisenhower and then he went home to Waltrip, but he was exactly what he said. I to this day can't believe he preaches the gospel because I thought he was going to run into the NFL. I thought because that boy was a beast. Carl Roaches, he wasn't this fast. This boy was fast.
Now, thank you, nephew Tommy.
Right. You got some props.
I got some props. But I'm saying what you did for Ralph, very seriously, what you did for Ralph Cooper is monumental. We never would have seen that in a newspaper article. But Ralph Cooper is a legend himself in sports, still hasn't gotten his real just due. But thank you come on, give it up for that. I love it. Questions from the audience.
Questions. Here I come, Gilbert. So that those in the back can hear you. I'm bringing you this. Ralph Cooper's going to be a big part of this weekend, by the way, so that they can hear you in the back.
Yes, indeed.
I'm Gilbert Garcia, and Coach, it's tremendous to hear your stories, right? And what's interesting is even today, a lot of the things you say still resonate with a lot of us, even in our careers. So my question is, when are we going to see black owners of teams? When are we going to see black owners of NFL teams, hockey teams? I mean, do you see that happening? And what's it going to take to finally get there?
Well, you know, there are many qualified African Americans that have enough money, but as if they want you in the fraternity or not. That's the whole secret. You know, I remember, I mean, it's no different than when, you know, my dad's from Florida, my mom's from California, and we moved to Sacramento. We were the only black family when I was 15 in the neighborhood. Well, it ain't changed that much, you know, and for sale signs went up across the street. I scored 5 touchdowns, and half of them came down.
Yeah.
But then it was still the same, you know, and sometimes it's not about how much money you got, it's if they want you in or not. That's what it boils down to. And then the same for white owners as well, but it's just tougher on us.
Great question. Thank you for that question. Anyone else?
Here I come.
Right here?
Oh, right where? Okay, I can.
I got one way in the back.
Hi, I had a quick question. I grew up, my brother played baseball, my father loved baseball.
Walk this way.
I enjoy your stories about breaking records and breaking barriers, but today we don't see as many African Americans playing baseball. And I'm wondering if you have an opinion about what changed and what we can do to recruit young boys to play baseball and eventually make their way to the MLB.
Well, it's really tough because nowadays football is so prevalent. Basketball, all you need is a ball, and you don't even need tennis shoes. Play barefooted, and the monies are different. When we grew up, it was only the box or you play baseball. It wasn't the other sports. I played basketball in college and high school, and I was pretty good. But I looked at the numbers. It's 5 basketball players start, and it's 9 baseball players. It's 70 football players, so it's much easier. And now equipment costs so much. They have all these, some of you people might have kids or grandkids that play on these select teams. Those things are expensive. I mean, you're running, what, $300, $400, $500 a month, and they travel.
It's more than that.
Yeah, and we can't afford to do that. So that's why we have an organization, the foundation. We have the Acres Home League over there, and we're trying to build something over at Texas Southern. You know, Texas Southern's been here for, what, over 100 years?
Yeah.
And they don't even play on their own baseball field at their own college?
To this day.
How do they do that? Yeah. I mean, that's why a lot of times it's not prevalent for us to be out there. And you can't get there, or both parents work, if there is 2 parents in the home.
Correct.
And then how are they going to get there? I used to have a white guy come pick me up to take me across town to play baseball. They don't do that anymore. So you can't go in the black neighborhood because you might not get out. So it's all those circumstances that are there. But we've got to build it. We've got to keep trying, and we've got to keep building. If you stop, then it won't be any.
Venus, you mentioned something very, 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 very serious. The cost to play Little League Baseball today, you got to have your own trainer. I mean, it's not just you go join a team. To compete today, you've got to have your own trainer. You got to have your own workout plans, and now they're making kids almost play baseball every day. So you can't only play more than one sport like you used to could play, and the equipment, a bat, like
$100.
no, $200-300 just for a bat, and you cannot have just one bat.
No.
You got to have a bat based on the occasion, and check this out. when we played baseball, there was a few bats per team.
Yeah.
But now every baseball player on the team has to have his own bats.
And a bag to put the bats in.
And a bag to put the bats in, and different kind of shoes based on the different kind of turf and the ground, and gloves for each position. So it's priced out. And that's what the real, listen, that's the discrimination, right? It's economics, not just skin color. Because if you can't pay to play, then you can't do that. And it takes a lot of money to make it happen. So thank you for talking about that.
See, I got a son that plays with the Washington Nationals, right? Well, he went to college. He went to Cal, University of California, Berkeley. And he had each year, 4 years of his education, he had I think 2 other black kids on his team. Then he'd go to summer ball. And my wife, I didn't know what she was doing. I said, babe, what you doing all that money? What you need all that money for? I mean, she was spending $5,000 or $6,000 to play baseball. And she was calling me from Phoenix, from Cooperstown, from Florida, I said, baby, you don't have no, we had a league in our town. We had some bad boys in our town. We didn't have to leave. We didn't have to go 10 miles and we was going to be some bad dudes. Yeah. But I heard now if you want to get a scholarship or if you want to play professional ball, you got to go to one of these leagues.
Yep.
And it's making it tough on us. Also, another factor I think is that there's a lot of women running the household. And see, when we were kids coming up, our daddies were our coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And mama would come out there to support you, but mama wasn't in charge of taking you to your games and taking you here and there and everywhere.
Your daddy was doing it.
Yeah. And like my daddy used to pick up Bobby Bonds every day. And I was with him. You know what I mean? And my hero, we all had heroes. And we had black heroes.
Yeah.
I had Jim Brown in football. I had Elgin Baylor in basketball. I had Bob Hayes in track. Yeah. And then I ran track too. And then we had Tommy Davis was my hero in baseball. He wore number 12 with the Dodgers. I ended up wearing number 12. I ended up playing the same position that he played, and he was one of my heroes. And when I met him, he was an even better person as a hero than I thought, because there have been some heroes that I met that I wish I had never met them.
Yeah.
You hear what I'm talking about?
Right.
You just
right.
stay a hero. I don't have to
right.
meet you because you ass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing too, it's the expense. Mayor, you were with me. I think I was chairman of the board of Texas Southern. I go in to they have this big deal where you ask for the money for the college. You ask to educate your people. And I stood up. University of Texas had just finished. I don't know if you remember this, Mayor, but I do. They asked for $108, I got the number probably right on time, $108 million to add on to their football stadium. And I'm the chairman, so I got to ask for my money next.
Yeah.
So I stand up, and I think you were sitting there on the damn table. And I'm sitting there, and I'm saying, we're only trying to get $15 million to keep us from cutting us $10 million.
Wow.
I stood up and I said, how can you let them build a stadium when we need to educate our people to keep them from coming to see you later on? I got the money, but then I was pissed off at myself because I didn't ask for enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't ask for enough, and I was miseducated, but I won't do that again, ever. I'm always going to ask for more. But you remember, you were sitting there.
Wow.
I was pissed.
Yeah.
So I think we have one or two more that we can do, Reverend Dixon.
We can wrap it up,
Bishop
yes.
Dixon.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, my name is Tanya Ingram. I just wanted to ask, because you keep talking about your heroes, and I wanted to hear more about when you realized you were our hero, right? How did you navigate that space And what is the one thing that you learned, the power during that space that could help us be somebody else's hero as well?
Fair question.
Well, that's a great question. Number one, I don't feel like a hero.
Oh, you are.
No, but I'm serious about that. You know, I really don't. I mean, maybe I am, but I'm just dusty. I'm blessed. You know, I mean, I was chosen to be in this situation. I didn't choose this, but all I can tell you, is to take as many people with you down the right road as you can.
Let me answer this.
And one more thing, it's about those children in there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is all for them. And just like I was reading Proverbs the other day, it said, hey, you know, good man will leave an inheritance for his children's children.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, I got enough for my children. I got to keep on working. I got to get something for my children's children.
Yeah.
Because that's what rich white people do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Children's children.
Oh yeah, and I'm learning about this generation skipping.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a powerful thing, generation skipping.
Yeah.
Because now my daughter don't have to pay taxes. By the time to get to the other one, then they got to pay it. But I hope they got enough sense to not mess it up.
Yeah. That's wisdom.
One thing, when you sit there and all of us dream, I hope you dream, when I woke up one night after a dream, I always think about good stuff to happen. I don't like going to sleep on bad stuff. So I dream about money a lot. But if you sit there long enough and you know that as long as we played, it's something else out there. God didn't just put us out here just to play baseball.
Yeah.
It's other things that happen in our lives where we sit there and we wonder, how can I help somebody else? If you think about that, I could hit a slider. I mean, a lot of you look at me and I swung at them. I was looking for them suckers on the ground. But if you think about it, why are you here? Why did God put you here? Did he put you to be the mayor? Hell no, he didn't put you to be the mayor. He put you here so you can help people. Rodney, what did he put you here for? You got money. That don't make no difference. What are you going to do in somebody else's life? And I figured I'm here to help people. They asked me to do too much stuff, but hell, I can do it till I roll over. But still, why did God put you here?
You know, when you talk about that, Enos, God put you here to help people. You know, you hear people, don't use me. Well, nobody gets used if you have nothing to offer, right? And if people are picking off of you, it's because you got fruit. Ain't nobody picking nothing off of a barren tree. So if you don't want anybody picking off you, stop bearing fruit and people will leave you alone, right? Thank you for that. I want to say there are several things, Coach. The first time I met you, Enos introduced us, and I walked away from that conversation saying, people have to know him. People need to know Dusty Baker. The gentleman, the man who lives on principles that his father taught him and his mother taught him, who prays every day, who admits not being perfect, but at the same time is striving to be the best Dusty Baker person as he could be. I read something about you that one writer said that you have all these eclectic relationships, like even your invitation list to the World Series final game. You know, you had Barack Obama on there and Snoop Dogg, and you had all these people, but you had a school teacher, you had somebody who had messed up their life and just gotten it straight. There's all kinds of people on that list. I was a little bit upset because I said, at least you could have one preacher on the list. It could have been, you know, like, I know one preacher that could have been on the list, but I'm just saying. Anyway, but you're going back to the World Series this year, and I want to be on that list. But
yes, we are.
But, yeah. But how fascinating it is that you've got all these different kind of people who feel connected to you, whether they are billionaires or a bus driver. How do you explain that all those people connected to one man and feel like they love and know Dusty Baker?
Well, I try not to be judgmental. You know, try not to choose your friends on their economic prowess in life. And, you know, I got people in my family been to jail. I got people in my family that's missionary. I got people in my family that got money, don't have no money, and they're all my people, you know, and they're all my family. And you know, I mean, sometimes I gotta jack some of them sometime, you know, but they still my family, you know, and like most of my long-time homeboys, I went to elementary school with them. You know, and people are like, how can you know somebody from elementary school? Because when I go back home, you know, I got a couple of partners, I can't even take them nowhere because I'll start telling a story and they're like, man, that ain't how it happened. Yeah. Man, let me tell you how it really happened. I'm like, man, I can't take you nowhere. I can't even lie. And so it's like, you know, my homeboys are my homeboy. And I'll give you a chance until you mess it up. And I'll give you a chance. And my dad told me, you know, give people a chance. And then if they lied to you one time, I mean, it's hard to come back to me after you didn't lie to me. You know what I mean? I'll give you a chance. You know, I might even let you think I'm a fool, just to let you cut your own throat sometimes. You know, but you gotta like just give people a chance. And if you give people a chance, sometimes you're gonna get hurt. Sometimes you're putting your feelings on the line. Sometimes, but you also bring out the best in other people, and you bring out the best in yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna close this out, Coach. We are so proud of you, and when your players talk about why they won the championship, they don't talk about just Alvarez, and they don't talk about. They say they won this championship because they believe in Dusty Baker.
Let's see how much they believe. Let's see how much they believe this win too. What about that one? And then I'm really convinced.
That's what we're looking forward to.
Yes, sir.
And I'm a pastor, a preacher. You never have a sermon without opening the door to the church for somebody to join. So I've got to do this.
Go ahead.
Friday night, we've got the NAACP Freedom Fund Gala at the Hilton Americas Hotel. There are about 100 tickets left for $300. If you have not got one, go to naacpfreedomfund.com and purchase a ticket, and you'll also purchase a membership. And Coach, I want to ask you, will you allow me to sponsor you as a member of the NAACP?
Yeah, I was in the NAACP before you.
I know. I know, but I want you to do that. So I want now that you're a member.
Okay.
Now that you're a member, I want you to tell everybody here to join the NAACP.
Yeah. Hey, I was in the junior NAACP. I ain't lying. Our house was where they had the meetings at.
Yeah.
And my mom and daddy'd have everybody over to the house, and then they started the junior chapter.
Of the NAACP.
Yeah, I might have been like 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, there's another reason, you know, there's some little pretty girls in there, too. What y'all shaking your head about over there?
Look, let me thank all of y'all. We would love to have all of y'all to join the NAACP. We're doing a lot of good, a lot of work. And next door, 100 kids, right at 100 kids, had a meeting with Coach Dusty Baker as he spoke to them tonight. They toured the stadium And Paula Harris has already said they can come back to a game. Give it up for her one more time. Paula, come on, give it up for her. Let's give it up. Mayor, would you just stand right here, please? Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee is here, and Commissioner Ellis. Would y'all come forward, please? I want to say to us tonight, we know that this night is about these leaders, but I want, come on, the councilwoman is here. I want, yes. All right, would you all celebrate? Would you celebrate these elected officials? Okay. Our Judge Joe Stevens, our Councilwoman Dr. Carolyn Evans Shabazz, of course, Commissioner Rodney Ellis of Precinct 1.